and welcome to another Balance Your Productivity podcast, live on Facebook at 4:30 every day. And in today's session, I wanted to touch on something that's been coming up a lot this week and last week. I've been talking to people around balance and integration in all aspects of your life. So if you have any comments or questions that you would like to add, then do so in the comments below and feel free to share, or if you want to catch up later on, that's all good too. So balance and integration, how you integrate all the different aspects of your life into one so that you can feel that you're living in a more balanced way. And I find with a lot of people who are spending too much time at work and thinking that there really is more than this constant treadmill of work, that some of the different aspects will suffer, particularly around their social life, their friends, their relationship, other things that are going on. So how are you able to pull this together in a more integrated way? What we tend to call work lives, what you can do to look at all the different aspects. So one of the first things to consider is your life as a whole, to be able to take a look at all those different aspects of your life around friends and family, your relationships, your work, your career, your health, the environment in which you live and work, and whether any of those areas particularly need to change. If you're not already familiar with it, there is a life balance wheel that you can complete, which will go through each of these sections, and you score each area 10, and then it gives you a much better idea of where you are and which aspects of your life are perhaps suffering more than others. If you haven't tried that exercise, or you would like to find out more, then please do drop a comment in or get in touch, or have a look at the website and you'll find the life balance wheel, and that is a good starting point. If any one area in particularly the more important is out of kilter, then feeling more tired, more stressed out, potentially feeling overwhelmed or generally dissatisfied. So over the course of the next few weeks, I want these key areas and give you some ideas and some thoughts around how you can actually improve these. So the first one that we'll touch on is your overall health and well-being. When it comes down to it, people invariably don't have time to spend on their health and general well-being. So whether that's exercising, not having time to exercise, not sleeping properly, feeling stressed, not being therefore they're not eating properly. We live very rushed, busy lives, so we tend to be grabbing whatever's easiest and rely on coffee, keep us going, ready meals because they're quick, and it's not always the healthiest thing. So, and actually focusing on your health is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself, and it really does need to be a priority. So if you just take some time to think about, what does being healthy mean to you? And it doesn't mean that we all need to be super athletes, but it's about being the correct weight, or being a healthy weight for your height, what makes you feel good, whether you can just do simple things like running for getting out of breath, or climbing a flight of stairs without getting out of breath. There's a level of what can be termed as good health, which it puts in a much better position to be able to deal with a lot of things that are going on if you are healthy, particularly some of the things that I've went through and a lot of friends and family and people know are going through, that if you're healthier, you're better able to deal with those things. So think about whether you are a healthy weight for who you are and what you do. Do you have a healthy diet? What's your diet like on a day? I'm talking about not diets, but the diet that you have, what you eat, the type of food that you eat. Have you recently had your health? do you know what it's like? Do you know whether you have high cholesterol? Do you know that you're in pretty good shape? And how many times you exercise or how active you are on a weekly basis. Maybe you're not. Maybe you spend a lot of time sitting at the desk in front of a computer, which a lot of us do, particularly if you're working in an office like I am. So do you go to exercise classes? Do you have a regular exercise routine? And think about those. I think exercise and activity, and it's not just about physically doing exercise or actively going to the gym or going to classes, but how you can be more active, particularly as we're more and more sedentary, cars, commuting, generally a lot of time sitting, and that has an impact on your health, weight issues, because we're not exercising as much, we're not active. And it's important to at least get some exercise in on a daily basis. With exercise, it's also about knowing what your body is physically capable of, what's good for you, and building up gradually so that you can improve your overall strength and stamina. You all know, and there are always studies coming out, that if you're fit and active, then you're going to have a much stronger immune system, and you're more likely to live longer, and you're going to be less prone to illness in later life if you've kept your heart healthy, your mind healthy, you're less at risk of heart attacks and strokes, and you'll feel better overall. Exercise is very good for mental health, reducing stress and problems that can be associated with that, particularly things like depression. So think about your general level of exercise activity within the working day, or certainly within a week. And is there anything that you would like to change? Next thing to think about is about diet and nutrition. And so it's not about being on a diet. I think it's much more about balanced eating. So take a look at food that you eat on a general basis, on day to day, and think about what is it that you are actually eating. Is it very high in sugars? Sugars is a big issue at the moment. We'll be unaware of a lot of the sugar that is in our diet. Amount of fruit and vegetables that you eat. You sometimes have to make effort just to eat fruit and vegetables because it's easier and it's not in the things that we readily reach for, like biscuits and cakes and snacks. So think about the food that you buy. I did go through a phase, and I still do it, is looking at the food labels and being aware of how much sugar is in foods, particularly ready meals and processed food, sugars, salts, additives, colorings, preservatives, and try and get back to as natural and unprocessed as you can if you want to improve your diet. And that has an overall impact on your overall health and well-being. Low-fat foods can potentially contain a lot of sugar, and low sugar food, artificial flavours in order to replace what it is that's missing. So always go with the buying food that's as fresh and as possible. I'm just very aware of what is good, and it's something that I'm interested in, and there are simple things that you can do to educate yourself about what's good for you and what's a healthier diet, rather than being taken in by sort of flash labels and sometimes a lot of very misleading labels. So this week, think about what action you could take that would make a difference to your health from the perspective of exercise and activity. Where could you increase your activity? Is there something that you can do to be more active, or exercise 3 times a week, whether it's a short walk, walking to and from work, walking your lunch hour, cycling, perhaps going for a swim, or starting an exercise class, taking the stairs instead of jumping in the lift or the elevator, walking instead of taking the car, parking further away so that you can have those few extra minutes walking. And don't forget about keeping your mind busy as well. Quizzes, crosswords, there's more and more coming through on research that people are doing that said if you can keep your brain active, then it can help stave off some of those things around dementia and Alzheimer's in later life, and it keeps you active. So quizzes, crosswords, tests, puzzles are all great to exercise your mind. Think also about diet and nutrition. Perhaps start a food diary if it's not something you've either done before, or you want to really look at what it is that you're eating. And it might highlight some areas where you're more likely to snack, the amount of snacks that you're taking in. People that sort of, oh, I don't eat an awful lot, but then you find that they're grazing throughout the day. Drinking less tea, coffee, alcohol, cutting out biscuits and snacks, try that for a week, and drink more water. We tend to be more dehydrated than we realise, so drinking more water will also make you feel full. It's good for the brain, and it's good for your diet and all your system functioning generally. And look at the number of portions of fruit and particularly veg that you perhaps eat in a day. Could you increase that? Try a few of those things and see if you feel after a week either adding in or increasing the amount of exercise that you take. And also thinking about eating more healthily. And with eating healthily, I'm not big on diets, and I definitely go with the 80-20. There's no point in feeling that you're depriving yourself. So there is nothing wrong with the occasional cake, chocolates, treats, and the less you have them, the less likely you are to want to crave them. But don't deprive yourself as long as you're balancing it with eating healthily the rest of the time. So that's today's session on how you can integrate health and nutrition and general well-being more into your life. Take a look at where it is, what you would like to change, some of the actions that you would like to take. And if you would like to, then please do get in touch through my website. If you'd like to book a time for a chat, or if there's something in particular that you would like to address. And if you've got a comment, then feel free, or question, just pop it in the comments below and I'll be happy to get back to you. And I will touch on the next subject in next week's session. So until then, take care.